Hello, my dear students. How are you all? Hope you all are keeping fine. Yesterday, we have started our chapter that is the magic pot. Please look at your book today, page number 41 and page number 42. Let us read our chapter. You will tell her that you are safe and that you will return after a month. In the morning, when she wakes up, she will find money and clothes by her side. The Yakshas told him that you will tell in her dream that you are safe and you will return after a month. And in the morning when she will wake up, she will find a money and clothes by her side. Then I will gladly work for you, my master, said Shubhadatta happily. Then he agreed to work happily. Shubhadatta went with the Yakshas. They bathed in the river. He helped them dress in silks which they produced out of nowhere. Then he laid out the gold plates which too they produced magically. But there was no food. There is no food, my master, he said to the Yakshas. So then he went with the Yakshas, they had a bath, and then Shubhadatta helped them to dress in silk dresses, and they used to bring from nowhere, from anywhere they can bring because they have a magical power. And then he laid out the gold plates and they produced magically. They have produced with magic power. They placed a plate but there was no food. Then he asked, there is no food, my master. Then one of them smiled and said, we know that. Take this pot. And he gave Shubhadatta a beautiful pot. Put your hand inside and make a wish. Whatever you want, one will come out of it. Then one of the Yakshas smiled and said, we know that. Take this pot. And then Shubhadatta took the pot, a beautiful pot, and they asked him to put his hand inside and make a wish, whatever he wants to eat. Shubhadatta thought of delicious pulao and put his hand in the pot. Lo and behold, he had rice in his hand. Then he thought of meat and other tasty food. The dishes appeared before him. He put the food on the gold plates and set them before the Yakshas. What a beautiful pot, he said after the meal. Then Shubhadatta thought for a delicious pulao, and then he put his hand inside the pot. Then he had a rice in his hand and he thought of a meat and then other tasty food. Then he placed all the dishes on the gold plates, and then he said that what a beautiful pot after the meal. Shubhadatta worked with the Yakshas for a month. Then one day they said to him, you have served us well. We will give you anything you ask for. Then Shubhadatta already had worked with them for a month. Then one day they have said to him that you have served very well. You did very well. Then we will give you anything you ask for. Whatever you want, we will give you. Then I will take the magic pot, my master, said Shubhadatta. Then he said, I will take this magic pot with me. Then if you break the pot, it will return to us. Ask for anything else, said the Yakshas. The Yakshas told to him that if you take the pot, it might break. Then it will return to us. So ask for anything else, something else. Then Shubhadatta again he said, but I want the pot and nothing else. Then take it, said the Yakshas and gave him the pot. Then they have given the pot to him. Shubhadatta took the pot and went home. His wife and children were very happy to see him back. He showed them the magic pot. He drew out beautiful clothes and shining jewels from it. They were understruck. See, then he took the pot and went home, and his wife and his children were very happy to see him back. Then he showed the magic pot to them. He drew out beautiful clothes and shining jewels from it. From the pot he took out some beautiful clothes and some jewels. They were understruck, means fell admiration and surprise. Let us have a feast for all the neighbors, but don't tell them where the food comes from, said Shubhadatta to his wife. Then one day Shubhadatta told that we will have a feast for our neighbors, but don't tell to anyone where the food has come from. So they invited 100 guests and served them the most delicious food they had ever eaten. So they have served some delicious food which they have never been tasted earlier or they have never ate before. You are such a poor woodcutter. Where did you get the money to buy such good food? One of the guests asked. So among them, the neighbors who have come in their house, one of them they have asked. He had asked, from where you got this such a good food? You are only a poor woodcutter. Then from where did you get the money to buy good food? Then Shubhadatta grinned to himself and kept quiet. He was afraid that someone would steal his pot. But the neighbors were curious. They kept asking him. At last, Subhadatta could not stop himself from boasting. He brought the pot out and said, "See, the Yakshas gave me this magic pot because I worked so hard. It gave me anything I want." Then he was quite green to himself and he was quiet. He was afraid that someone would steal his pot, and the neighbors were curious to know how he got the money, how he bought such a good food. Then he could not stop himself from boasting. Boasting means showing off. Then he brought the pot out of and said, "See, the Yakshas has gave me this beautiful pot, and because I have worked hard for them, and this pot gives me anything what I want." Shubhadatta started dancing with the pot in his hand, and then from his hand, and then horrors and horrors, the pot slipped from his hand and broke. He quickly started picking up the pieces to put them together again. For a moment, everyone saw the whole pot and then it vanished. What happens after that? After boasting that, Shubhadatta started dancing with the pot in his hand. And then while he was dancing and dancing, the pot slipped from his hand and then broke. Then he quickly picked up all the pieces of the pot and tried to join together again. For a moment, every one of his neighbors saw the pot, but after a few seconds, the pot vanished by itself. Vanish means went off. Went off means without. It vanished by itself, it went off by itself. Shubhadatta cried, "If only I had not been foolish enough to boast about the pot, it would still be here. What a fool I am." Then he started to cry, telling to himself that I am so foolish enough that I have boasted about the pot. If I could have not boasted about it, it could have been still with me. I am a fool. But nothing would bring the pot back now. Shubhadatta went looking for the Yakshas many times, but he never saw them again. So he went back to bring the pot back, but Shubhadatta could not bring back. And then he went for looking the Yakshas in the jungles, but many times he went to search for them, but he never saw them again. So this is the story of the magic pot. Please go through the chapter once again, read the whole chapter, and write down the question answers which I have given you. Till then, take care. Thank you.